Hello, everybody. Welcome back to part of the latest 2019 PokerNews podcast. I am with the one and only my girl, my homie, my peer, my colleague, Aleeyah. I feel like, do you get to just be like one name? Like, is this like Madonna / Aleeyah who also had this but like spelled differently? Are you just like a one name person at this point?
I kind of have to be because my last name is really hard to pronounce. It's Jadavji. And that's even like the English version. It's like pronounced Jadavji. So it's just easier to go by first name. And it's funny because I got the handle El Sriracha, and so some people call me El, some people call me Ellie, and some people call me Allie. So it's just I've embraced it all. It's whatever. YOLO.
Yeah. I'm with you. Like, once you realize it's just going to be too hard, it's like, save yourself. Save yourself, save everyone.
Yeah.
Let's just keep it simple.
Agreed.
So we have a lot of things to talk about. And actually, my initial kind of going into this was that I wanted to talk about the PSPC. There was a ton of... we've talked about it like ad nauseum on the podcast. This was such a really cool, exciting tournament for a lot of reasons, but mostly that it was basically a totally new take on an event that was at this magnitude, which is kind of new. I think people are always trying to do something new, and like generally it's not received that well, but this was amazing. And last minute they sort of announced that there was going to be a media pass and that people were able to nominate someone that they know in the media, and you were the person who took this bad boy down for lots of reasons. And for those who haven't seen it, Brad Willis wrote an awesome article explaining why Aleeyah is the perfect person to have had this honor bestowed upon her. But so now, having had been there, I of course want to talk about the experience, but before that, let's talk a little bit about what ended up getting you there. What do you think is it that made you stand out so much? For those of us who read Brad Willis's article, we already know.
It's really hard to answer that as the person being part of that, being the subject of that. But first of all, when I was nominated, just the nomination alone to be in the top 5 with those amazing media people who, and honestly, there were so many other people, and I very much respect everyone in the media. So it was really, it was humbling to be on that list. And I saw the list, I was like, there's no way I'm winning. Like I thought there was maybe a 5% chance, and that was on the high end. And I was like, this is amazing to be tagged. I didn't think anything of it. As soon as they were about to announce that they were going to pick a winner, I went in the shower. I was like, I have to go somewhere. So I was like, all right, I'm just going to go take a shower and get ready, and we'll see who won. And so I kind of came out, and I had like 85 notifications, and Mel Moser from PokerStars was like video chatting with me, and she was in tears, like she was crying. She's like, you won. I'm like, no way. And so kind of like lost my mind because I didn't think it was going to be a thing. But to answer your question, I don't know. I mean, like I just, I did some charity work. I have been active in the community. I'm an emotional, vocal person who will, I'll speak my mind. I feel like I've been involved in some fun projects, and I travel around with like, it's honestly, I tell people it's a dream job, and I feel like maybe being someone who doesn't take it for granted and doesn't just think it's like, a job that I'm doing because like I didn't make it in poker, which is something that people think is a thing with poker reporters, but I never tried. I'd never had the dream or whatever to become a poker pro. I just kind of play it because I love it. And so, yeah, I guess that's where I'm at. It's kind of weird to answer that, but yeah, I'm grateful. I really hope that at least I was able to do the media proud and be there as a proud member, and I had a blast.
I would say 100% you were. And, I think that there are a lot of people in the media who are worthy, and I think who could show up there and represent. But there was a lot of things about your story that I actually didn't even know. I mean, I think that's one of the interesting things. So for me, knowing you, you're someone who, what I was thinking is that you had gone on this weight loss journey and that you'd been really working on like diet and fitness and really trying to change your life in a way that I thought was really impressive. And so when I first saw that you had won, I thought, oh, it's because she's doing all this awesome stuff and she's changing her life. But it was that plus about 10 other things that I didn't know or didn't realize. So I think one thing that, and by the way, guys, I am just now getting the comments and reactions, which will show up, but it took me a second to rearrange things. But I want to talk a little bit about, first of all, the charity movement that you did last year and that you're continuing to do, and kind of how you found yourself in that space.
Yeah, so I kind of started following along with Jamie Staples because, I've known Jamie since before he became the star that he is. And, I had a chance to hang out with him and his lovely fiance, Bikar, and his amazing mom and his team. And he's like the same humble, funny guy that he was before, which was awesome. But yeah, he started inspiring people, and he inspired me to just kind of, take my health back. And I feel like being in and just realizing that I'm happiest in this community, working in it, playing in it, being around the people that are in it, I was like, everything feels right, but the health side of it. And so I kind of said, I feel like I'm at a point where I can focus and crush and just meet my goals and just kind of be the last piece of where I feel like I can just be maximum happiness. And so I kind of jumped into it, and I lost the most weight that I've lost, trying to get my health back, which is 100 pounds from like my peak. And so that was a really proud achievement. But then I kind of started to, obviously get some pain over this last summer. I had the best summer ever that I've had in Vegas, where I was able to play for the majority of the time. I was cooking keto meals. I was really, really happy. And obviously I love live reporting, but anything you do for like 7 weeks at a time, you are going to be drained. And I know I'm preaching to the choir because I know you've been on the grind so many times. But so it's one of those things where I just felt like it was just such a happy medium. Then I was getting a lot of pain, and I was like really miserable on my drive home, which is 24 hours. And it took me 2 days because I was really lethargic and I was tired after like 90 minutes. And lo and behold, it turned out to be a really awful tumor that was in my abdomen, about 10 pounds in size. And
Get the fuck out of here.
Yeah, I was like instantly 10 miserable.
Pounds?
Yeah, it shrunk down to about 5, like just over 5. So I'm happy that at least they were able to like shrink it enough where I, minimize the risk of it spreading, because that was another thing where the doctor said, I don't know how you're not stage 4, because the reason being is it was so big that she was worried that it had spread for sure. And what she told me was that being on the keto diet, depriving my body and the cancer cells of glucose, which, comes from carbs, for a year, that I could have very well saved my own life. So to think of that, it's
like full goosebumps.
Crazy. It's so insane. Like I think about it and it feels surreal. And it's crazy because, the people that I'm, my best friends, Joy, Jamie, Mike, they have been like my biggest supporters for the last while in everything, the weight loss, dealing with radiation and cancer, and they have supported me no matter what. And it's been one of those things where the last like maybe 4 months, I definitely have not been keto. I definitely put back a bunch of weight, but I wasn't thinking of it. And my friends and family have been helping me just realize that, look, it's not your focus. It's one of those things where you got to focus on, let's crush cancer. We will figure out what happens later. So as of yesterday, I'm like fully back on keto, but I'm just trying not to beat myself up. And I think that's really important for people where, people are going to have so many things that they deal with in life. It could be an illness. It could be, dealing with financial stuff. It could be dealing with family stuff, but like tackle what you can, and don't beat yourself up if you can't tackle everything at once. And it's one of those things where I found that my friends and my family have been super supportive in that way. And obviously I've been like the last like month or so before I started surgery and stuff, I was miserable. Like people probably did not see it because I've been really trying hard not to project negativity out there, because I really feel, as much as like I give Phil Hellmuth a hard time sometimes on Twitter, I feel like he has something really going with the, hashtag positivity. And I think like surrounding yourself with people that are positive and just having a positive mindset and doing what you can really helps. And so I felt like because I was trying really hard not to be negative on social media and stuff like that, it actually helped me. So I was just trying to stay positive and, here we are. So
It's so crazy. And all of those things. Also, I love how you say it's like a 24-hour drive that took you like 2 days. And I'm like,
it's
that
ridiculous.
sounds like it should take 2 days.
No, it
should
doesn't
take like
normally.
a million
Okay,
days.
there's some context behind that where I absolutely love driving and I'm psycho like that because every summer for the past 3 years I've driven to Vegas and back from Canada, and mostly because like I really want to have a car in Vegas. Like I don't want to Uber everywhere and like rely on other people or take the bus. Like it's so hot. You know what I mean? Like it's so hot. And so I love driving. It's so peaceful. It helps me think. I forget about everything else. I just listen to my awful Backstreet Boys and Spice Girls playlist and I just I just go and I just drive, and I don't push myself to do it in 24 hours, but I literally just take a nap in Utah and then I just keep going and I get there, and it's always so easy. So going home, I was so miserable. I was like complaining. There's a stretch where I didn't have service, so I couldn't anyone. I was like, I want to message somebody and just complain about how awful this drive is, but I couldn't. And so yeah, it was a pretty rough like back half of the summer and back half of the year, and I'm just like exhausted, and I feel there was some point where I think I tweeted, I was like, I feel like I'm 90 years old. Like I sleep so much and I'm just exhausted. But it's a result of a lot of the therapy that I went through and just being a stoner, because that helped with pain. And it's legal in Canada, so I feel like I'm allowed to say that. But
it's legal in Vegas too, so you're fine.
Okay, cool.
Yeah.
All right, we're good.
It should be legal. So, I'm figuring like in 10 years, people are going to laugh that it wasn't legal. Like, what? Yeah. Prohibition? That was crazy.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
And just so you know, you're getting tons and tons of love in the chat and tons of people saying hi and that they love you and congratulations and you're their girl. And Jess Wellman just said, it's funny how you love positive people, but you still put up with me. I appreciate you. Like, Jess I know you can't see the chat.
Yeah, Jess Wellman is so positive. Jess Wellman, BJ, Christy Arnett, they all sent me like care packages and so thoughtful. Jess Wellman sent me the Kung Fu Panda little like doll or whatever, and I'm never going to forget. There's so many people that you just don't realize, people who might not be in your life every single day, but they're just like thinking of you, and just it's really nice. People tagging me in like panda videos and like sriracha, like it's just awesome to have people think of you that way. So I love everyone who's supported me and like just been there for me throughout this whole insane ordeal. I'm very, very grateful, and you've all helped in some way, shape or form. So,
well, I want to shout out, because I don't want to mess up anyone's name, but there's a few people who have like said some really nice things, and I don't want to like miss them. But is it David Guay?
Oh yes, yeah, from Montreal. Yeah.
Okay, so he's like, you're my girl till it's over. Like never, always congrats. We've got Donald Brown said what's up. Josh Bell, who I'm like, is that our homies from the other side of the world? Are we talking like Australia? If so, what's up, Josh? I know you. Ruth Hall, Tim Barnaby, Deborah. Oh, and I know her, and like I don't actually know how to 100% say her last name, but Vanesti maybe. I don't know. We've talked lots of times on social. Anyways, everyone's just giving you shout outs and giving you lots of love. So I didn't want to skip that. But then, for those of us, I think pretty much everyone in the chat and basically everyone in life and who is in this industry and who loves poker would love and kill for the chance to play in a 25K. And I think now, of course, we can see it's over. It's happened. And it was, even from the biggest and the best in the business, like Charlie Carroll said, this was absolutely the best, craziest tournament he's ever played in his life, because there were so many players at different levels with different perspectives coming at the game, like completely differently, but also that there was just like a real cool kind of like positive, fun vibe. I think a lot of the people who are in the poker game on the reg were really recognized that this was an opportunity to showcase poker the way that it should be. So is that the experience that you got? Is that what it was like for you?
Yeah, 1,000%. And it's crazy. And Maria Ho said it best. She's like, wow, you're really getting the full experience. And what she meant was like, I started day one with, in my opinion, probably one of the tougher tables in the room. I have Rainer Kempe on my left. That's
exactly what you want.
Yeah. I have another Spanish pro. I have Amit Makija,
Oh,
who's an American
AMAC.
pro. Yeah, I have
Loser.
Davide Katai from France.
Get out!
Okay, I
He's
have
like a
Ryan.
Triple Crown winner, no big deal.
Oh, insane. I have Ryan Olisar from the States. I have Helio Neves from Brazil. Like, give me a break. I sit down and I'm like, okay, I'm the spot at the table. Only female, only Platinum Pass winner. The rest are just crushers. One guy on my right, I'd never heard of him, but I saw him the next day playing like another high roller. Like, give me a break. So I sit down and I'm just like, okay, God, just breathe. And so I sit down. Everyone's just staring at me. I'm like, yeah, guys, I realized that I'm the Platinum Pass winner. And so actually it was cool because I ended up running the biggest bluff of my life, which I'm never going to ever stop talking about because I don't bluff when I play. And I got coaching from Ryan LaPlante and a couple other friends locally. And I pulled off the biggest bluff of my life. And I'm like, sorry, Amit, AMAC, but I'm going to tell everyone about it.
I'm ready. Can we hear? Let's
Yeah.
hear. I want to hear all about it because
Sure.
I tried the biggest bluff of my life in the ladies event, like deep one time and like totally
Don't do it in
failed.
the
And
ladies
so I'm
event.
always just like, what have I done? Like, why did I decide this was the time I was going to pull a huge bluff? Like, I'm an idiot. Oh my gosh, tell me what happened.
Yeah, it was super sick. I come back from the break with like 42,000 from 60 starting. And I forget what the blinds were, probably like 150, 300 or something. Or no, 1-3, I think it was, some weird blind level. And so I just opened with ace queen. And Amit calls from the cutoff. And Amit.
Wait, where were you?
I was under the gun +1.
Okay.
And
You're early. You're early.
He's cut off. Yeah, early position. So I'm hoping to get some respect. I'm a girl. I'm a Platinum Pass winner. I'm supposed to be shaking because I'm at the toughest table in the room. So he calls, and just some context, everybody's opening my blinds. Like, every single person, whatever chance they get, they're opening my big blind. They're opening my small blind. They're like trying to 3-bet me. So at this point, I know that he's going to try to play back at me no matter what. So the board comes deuce 6-5, 2 hearts. I have the ace of hearts. So I'm like, all right, I'm just going to fire. Yeah, I'm going to fire again on this kind of board. Like, we'll see what he does. He calls. So I bet a third pot. He calls. The turn is another 5, a black 5. And I bet half pot this time because I know that there's so many rivers that he's going to want to stab at if I check. And so he calls again, and the river's a 10 of hearts. So I just like pause for a few seconds and I check, and he bets third pot, so like 5,100. And I just like, and so I'm like, I know I have to check raise here. And I'm just like thinking to myself, I'm like, you have the fucking heart. You have the fucking heart. Just do it. Like, you have to do it here.
But like, it's like levels because you have the heart.
Yeah.
Like, you actually have the heart, but also like, do you have the heart and commitment, girl?
Oh,
like,
God.
to throw this one down.
It was so scary. So he bets like 5,100, and I just check raise to 18,000, and he snap folds, and I'm like, thank God, because I stopped breathing. Like, I literally stopped breathing. I'm like, please just fold. Like, I just want to get this one through so I can just tell everyone. And if I bust, I'm happy that I just pulled off this like big bluff. And he just folds. And then apparently later on, he's told somebody he had king 10. And so like, he just floats me with king 10 offsuit.
Like, all the way. Like, let's just see what this be.
Yeah.
Why not?
I mean, it's not a bad play against me, especially being the spot at the table and being like Platinum Pass winner, playing the biggest tournament of my life, being female. Like, there's so many factors where they're going to try to play at me, right? So I was like, YOLO, I'm just going to check raise. Like, I can rep not flush, I can rep 10s, I can rep like pocket 6s. So yeah, I mean, I ended up like, the table ended up breaking, and I pulled off a couple of more smaller bluffs, but I get moved to Maria Ho's table. And it's like Maria, Sean Deeb, Natasha Mercier, and like Kenny Tran. And Kenny Tran just he's not playing any hands. So it's like he wasn't even there. But the three of them were a lot of fun. Like, the dynamic was amazing. And the biggest thing that stood out for me was Maria Ho. She busts in with 10 minutes left in the day or something. And she packs up her stuff and she comes to me and she says, you're doing really well. Your table presence is amazing. Keep crushing. Good luck. And that I was like, holy shit, like, she just busted 25K and she's coming and giving me encouragement. Like, that is like, just take note, ambassadors. That is what keeps the amateurs wanting to come back and wanting to play with you guys, even though it's very scary to play with some of the best players in the world. They made it so comfortable. And, so she busts. And then day 2, I get sat with Sam Grafton and Jack Salter. And
like the quietest and also the loudest in the room. Boom.
Exactly. So they have heaps of chips, and I'm just like, oh God, like, okay, whatever. And they're just laughing and joking and having an amazing time. They're helping me feel comfortable. And there's a couple of other, amateurs. And so I end up busting with jacks to a guy named Jack. And
Standard.
yeah. And then it was a flip, ace king versus jacks. And, when I was standing, I'm like, sorry guys, I'm playing in the biggest tournament of my life. I'm standing up when I'm all in. And Sam Grafton was like, Jack, you have 8 people who are rooting against you right now. And it was really cool. It was super nice. The experience was absolutely amazing. I got, my 15 seconds of fame with Jeff Platt and got to chat with him a little bit. And yeah, it was very cool. The experience was surreal. I met so many cool people from all over the world. I got to play probably the best poker I've ever played, from the coaching, and just feeling like, I'm like a much better player now, obviously. And I see the game differently, and I see a lot of the pros differently. I was very, very impressed with how everyone handled themselves being amongst like amateurs. Cause, even a lot of the pros are playing the biggest buy-in of their life. Not everyone plays 25 and 50Ks and 100Ks. So the majority of the players there are playing real big buy-ins, and they were still going out of their way to make sure that we were having the time of our lives. And honestly, no regrets. It was an amazing experience.
As someone who's in the media, obviously we're way used to being on the other side. And I think, it's something that people have asked me before, and, like, what is it like when you're playing? And then like other people are covering you and this, but I think in this type of environment where there is a ton of media and there really are cameras everywhere, and this isn't just like the ladies event at the WSOP or whatever for you, can you, for those of us who haven't had that experience, what was it like to shift yourself to not being the person covering, but to being covered?
Yeah, honestly, it was a lot of fun just because so first of all, they have a list of Platinum Pass winners. So they're just going around the tables and they're just like, oh, Platinum Pass winner in seat X. And they're just like, the video cameras are on us and there's people taking it was really funny because they're taking my photo and I have Rainer on my left. And I'm just like, and I just look at him. I'm like,
this is Rainer.
Sorry. I'm like, sorry, they're here for me, bro. I'm like, they're here for me. And so, yeah, I mean, it was cool. He was even joking. He pulled off, or he didn't pull off a couple bluffs. He got caught. And I kind of made a joke, and he's just like, don't worry. And he compares his stack to mine. He's like, you have more chips than a German pro, so just be proud. It's like, it was really funny. So they were joking, and it was cool. But yeah, being on the other side of it was really awkward at times. But I was trying to just stay in the zone because I was worried that, for example, if I had Foxen at my table and he's just staring me down, I was like, I'm just going to laugh. I find it funny, the people that just stare other people down. And I understand there's a method to it. He's trying to get reads. He's trying to see where, he's also doing math in his head. He could just be staring at someone and doing math about the hand. So
he's literally just doing math right now, while he's mean mugging you.
I'm getting 1.6785 to 1. Do I make the shot? So it's I understand, but so actually it's funny because I end up being able to keep a stone face in a lot of my hands where I didn't think I could. I was like, I'm just going to laugh because that's just my personality. But I was actually pretty serious about it. There's a really funny photo of me with Roger Teska, who's at my table, who, I don't know, some people remember from. Yeah, he's hilarious. But we were both short, so he's on my left and he's just joking around. And I'm just about to see what I do with my hand, and I'm just staring at him, and it looks like I'm just giving him the worst look ever. Massive, just complete resting bitch face.
That's
and
my
it's
poker
funny.
face. That's my serious poker
somebody
face.
Somebody got a shot of it, and it's just the funniest photo ever. But yeah, just to see myself on the other side of it was really weird and sometimes awkward, but it was fun because I think that PokerStars and, all the teams that were involved did a really good job of making us feel we're in the spotlight, and, the people that, especially ones that won contests, really to get through and win a pass, were making us feel like celebrities, and their platinum pass party, and giving us all this swag that were added to it was unreal, just from end to end. How amazing it was. And you just spoke about Brad's blog post. And honestly, that blog post, I told him this straight up. I said, you could have written that post about me and it would have had nothing to do with the Platinum Pass. And you just wrote that about me and it would have made my year easily. Just to read those kinds of things when you're feeling just your absolute worst, just kind of reminds you that the worst might be here, but you just wake up tomorrow and hopefully it'll just be better. And this is the stuff you've done, for the last, X amount of years. And it's, you were at your best at those times. And so just don't forget it and just keep going. You know what I mean? So yeah, like it was such a surreal experience. I hope that I never forget all those, especially small moments that really made me feel like, this is 2019, the worst is behind me, hopefully. And, just keep going. And 2019 is going to be an awesome year. Like, I've had the opportunity to book some really cool gigs coming up with WSOP, and I haven't really got a formal offer yet, but I'm probably doing something different with WSOP this summer, outside of live reporting. So it's kind of like, life feels like it's going in a better direction than it was like a month ago. So.
And girl, like, it's so funny because I think that's why I thought that your platinum pass thing had more to do with like your weight loss journey or your health journey or whatever, because I've been asking, like, in the course of my 10 years, I have to say I've seen a lot of live reporters and editors and, poker writers come and go. We get about 25 of them every year during the World Series, and maybe 2 or 3, make it into like the regular, series of people that are on the grind. And I've asked like tons of times, like, what happened? I was like, I loved her. Like, there's not that many people where I'm like, okay, that they just like fit in and they click and they're good at what they do. And it's like such a good fit. And I think everyone, as soon as you came into the poker world, I think everyone was like, yeah, she's great. It's amazing. She's going to fit so good. And, even when I saw like Adam Lammers and stuff, we did a few events together, and people who were like friends of yours or who had worked with you. And I was like, what happened? But apparently you've still been doing tournaments this whole time. I just never see you, or like, you're never where I am. But I have to say, like, you definitely in a very short amount of time made a huge impact on the poker world. And probably part of that is a little bit because you are very open and very, honest. And I think the poker world, generally speaking, is interested in that. And so this is something which I never even intended when we booked this interview, but I know it's been going on the last few days, and you clearly have talked to someone else today about this, so I can't just totally avoid it. But you posted something which basically said that you had been photoshopped by PLON, and that you were offended by this.
So yeah, a little bit of like, some people I think were a little bit confused as to how it kind of started. And so it's funny because, so it's a photo from the summer. It was myself, Deb Wall, and Lena, and we were in the King's Lounge at Rio. And I guess like Lena has a bunch of filters on her phone. So when she took it, like immediately there's a bunch of filters applied to it, which is fine. Like if people want to do that, go ahead. But she took that photo and I guess cropped me out and made some adjustments to my face and like my hair, and like chopped my hair off, and my skin was just, I looked like an Oompa Loompa, and and whatever, something else. Yeah. My body was like all distorted. And so I saw this when she posted it for my like 2019 ambassador headshot, like mid-December. And I kind of saw it and I was like, oh gosh, like this is an awful photo of me. It's definitely edited, but I don't care. Like, it's one of those things where, I'm always like, there's photos taken of me when I'm standing behind players, and doing live reporting, and just probably some shot, some angles you're going to look awful, right? Yeah. I just don't pay,
Yeah,
so
for sure.
I'm not going to pay any mind because it's there. What am I going to do about it? I can't change it. Like, I'm not going to make a huge deal of it. So I kind of just laughed. I saved it to my phone and I sent it to the group chat that I have with my best friends here. I was like, guys, look at this awful photo of me. I look like a football player Oompa Loompa. Like, it was just awful. And they kind of laughed and they're like, yeah, this is a pretty bad, like, Photoshop job. No offense. Like, I don't know who, I'm pretty sure it was Lena, but like, I didn't think anything of it. I kind of just laughed it off and was like, whatever, it's there, And then some stuff happened the last like week or whatever, where a lot of women were kind of coming out and saying, whatever, I'm not going to go into it because it's hearsay, but like they have their stories and they left the group for whatever reasons and they're trying to make it better. And so Maureen, one of the other founders, posted some sort of photo saying, this is our plan for 2019. Do you have any suggestions for our ambassador call? So there's a bunch of us ambassadors from different parts of the world on the 27th of January. I can't actually make it to that meeting because I'm working an event, but I posted on there, look, this is not a big deal to me personally, but I think that it's like an important topic where body image is concerned, because women and men, we deal with this on a daily basis. Everyone has insecurities. Everyone has self-esteem issues in some form or another, right? And so I said, look, I don't particularly care. I would prefer going forward that you ask my permission if you're going to edit a photo. I don't really care. If you want to remove this photo, that would be wonderful because it's awful. But I think that women would appreciate not having their face altered and stuff, and especially to like make me look smaller. And I'm like, I'm a bigger girl. I'm talking about my story about weight loss, and I'm not hiding from any of that stuff. I'm definitely trying to make adjustments, but it's not fair for a different person to go and make a change on my behalf, and that I'm proud of who I am and, you know, whatever else. So I didn't make a massive deal of it. I just said, can we add this topic to the list? Yeah. And then Lena comes on and just like loses it on me. And she's like, well, we've asked you for a photo for months and you don't want to send it. And so we had to go and do it. And I'm like, okay, so you're just going to edit it to your liking. You could have just cropped any photo. You know, it's not a big deal. And so she got really upset and defensive about it. And I said, look, I've been going through radiation and surgery for the last 4 months. I don't have time for a photo shoot. And when you're feeling like your absolute worst, I'm sorry, but like, I'm not going to be posting photos of myself where, you know, worried about my appearance or whatever. I'm worried about bigger things. Yeah. And so we kind of went back and forth. We kind of, were chatting privately too. And she kind of like blew up at me. I was upset because, she's saying, sorry. I said, sorry, let it go. I said, sorry, let it go. I'm like, you're saying sorry for adjusting my photo. You're not addressing the fact that women are having these issues and we're a women's group and we should be lifting each other up, not bringing each other down by saying, hey, I'm just going to edit your photo because you don't look good enough for me to post it, you know? And so that's where I started to take it more seriously as the days went by, because I had women, and I counted 12. I counted 12 women who messaged me and said, thank you for speaking up. I don't, you know, in so many words, don't have the balls to do it myself because I'm scared. And one of them said that she was in tears over some of the things that have happened. So I felt like it was like, I have a voice. I'm going to try to use it. And, I'm going to use social media for some good here. So that's what I did. That was my intent behind it. And then she posted an apology, and the apology, sure, it's great. Like, it's really good to address things like this. It's good to like be, to recognize stuff, but she still wasn't seeing how it was. So essentially she said, I don't want the members of my group wearing low cut clothing. I don't want them wearing clothes with rips in them. I don't want them wearing short shorts. And so people start getting upset. They're like, you're going to tell me what I can and can't wear now? Like, it's just getting absurd. She's deleting comments. And so there's so much censorship in this group where she's turning off commenting when people start to have an opinion, clothing restrictions, editing our faces. And then the final thing is excluding members because they are part of other women's groups that, you know, apparently PLON and like the Women's Poker Association, there's some like leaders there that don't get along with Lena Evans. So
I'm sorry though, is it kind of like cliche and a little funny to be like two like women's groups are like, bitch, no.
You know what's crazy though, Sarah? People, like some people that I respect, I'm not going to like name them, but you know what they said to me? They're like, this is why I'm not part of women's groups. And it is like, and I totally get it, because I'm totally all for bringing more women to poker, but not when you're telling me what to wear and blocking and deleting my comments that are so harmless and like changing my face. I'm sorry, girl, but people are jealous of my skin tone. So let's just not,
Olive, bitch, right here.
I can stand in 45 minutes, girl. I don't need any filters on my skin. I'm very happy the way that I am. And it was just crazy how it was all handled. She even like posted the filtered version of the photos saying, this is the before picture. This is the after picture. Look, I didn't really make many adjustments. And then you zoom in and my hair's still cut off. It's like, come on. Like if you're going to go and post a photo where like you're trying to go before and after and make a point and make me look bad, please just put my hair back, girl. Like my hair has been halfway down my back for like 2 years. And I'm like, you know, it's just so absurd and it's so silly and it's so petty. All I want is for this women's group to just let people have a voice. Don't tell me what to wear. Don't tell me what to do. Don't tell me what I can say and not say. And just like stop changing my face. I like my chubby face the way it is. Like, come on. Like it's just absurd. And we should be supporting each other and lifting each other up and not telling each other what to do and how to act. And I don't need to be a certain way to be part of a group. So if you want to tell me how to act and how to look, I'm going to just YOLO out of there. Like, I'm out.
You know, it's really interesting and not to be devil's advocate necessarily, but it, for me, when I first saw the story on Twitter yesterday or the day before or whenever it was, I had kind of the instinctual automatic other reaction, which is that because I'm constantly creating like thumbnails or making images of people, that like I do my best sort of as a favor to try to tweak things. And, you know, for me, I give zero fucks. Like I put up pictures of myself all the time, like, like I don't care. But that's also part of my job, is to be like entertaining and create something that's clickable, which often like clickable things are ugly or weird. But when I'm putting up something of someone else, I do make an effort to try to make that thing look nice. And actually, it's something that I was taught basically by other women, because because I don't care. I assumed other people in the spotlight didn't care, and I put up a lot of pictures where people looked weird or did funny things, because that's what's going to get the most clicks. And then I got a lot of complaints from women like, hey, I really didn't appreciate you using that picture. Could you change that picture? Can you take that picture down? And not just by like any women, but, and I don't want to name names, but I will say by some very feminist, strong, powerful women in the poker community that I would have thought didn't care. And so just to play devil's advocate, I would argue that, you know, your side, actually, I'm seeing way more now in that you said, I don't care, but like, let's just bring this up as an item for discussion, which I think is like what groups are about. Yeah.
That's all it was.
But I would argue, like, what would you say to someone who would say, like, you know, she's trying not to put up a shitty picture and like make a shitty picture cuter, because she actually like cares about you and wants you to like feel good about yourself.
Yeah, and that's really interesting, because Natasha Mercier, who I absolutely love, I like, you know, I mentioned in the podcast earlier that I did that Sandra Barber, her sister, is one of like definitely I would have on my dream team as one of the, you know, for live reporters, because she's one of the most hardest working people I've ever met. And like, they're the sweetest sisters ever.
And chill, like they're chill girls.
They're so sweet. And so Natasha Mercier kind of commented, she's like, I don't want your self-esteem to be affected by this. You know, Jason has his face photoshopped all the time. He looked like Harry Potter in one of them. And so I appreciated hearing, obviously, like from people I respect, other sides of it. And I can totally get it. You know, like someone said, grow up, like models get photoshopped all the time. Like, sure, that's fine. But, you know, it was such a like, first of all, it was a super drastic change. Like if you look at the before and after that I posted, it's like Oompa Loompa and like regular brown girl. Like it was so brutal, but I can understand. I think that
regular brown girl.
Regular brown girl and then Oompa Loompa with like no hair. But you know, I feel like just ask permission if you feel like, just be like, hey, Aleeyah, like you're looking pale today. Do you mind if I like put a little bit of like blush on your cheeks? Like I would say no, but I think that I respect, and other women have spoken up saying I would love to be photoshopped. It's like, okay, cool. On the same token, like if you're going to Photoshop, it would be really cool if like you knew how to properly, cause like, you know, the example of the photo that I posted was pretty bad, but, no, I totally hear what you're saying. It's a common thing. You know, we put filters all the time on our phones, like just fun Snapchat filters and whatever else. And, you know, I want to look like a cool person when I'm, you know, making funny faces with friends and sunglass emojis and all that stuff. Like, whatever, it's fun. It's totally lighthearted. But I think when, you know, after she started arguing with me and saying like, well, it's your fault, you didn't send me a good photo, so I have to do this. And it's like, okay, now I don't think you get the point, right? It's like, there's a line. But I totally agree. Like, I think that it definitely matters, but it's a group where we have control over it. You know what I mean? We're a group where we're trying to get more of us playing, and we're trying to get better as players. We're not in some like fashion group where we're just like auditioning for some pageant, which, you know, like I would probably never do, because, you know, it's not my thing, but everyone has their thing. So if you want to be photoshopped, more power to you. I hope it makes you happy, and I hope it makes you feel better as a person. And if that makes you feel really good, I'm all for it. I'm all for doing things that make you feel good. So, but I just think the message was like really lost with Lena, and I hope that she can see it from my perspective, where I don't care. You can go put a clown face on my like my photo. It's cool. I'm happy. Like I will go about my business in my life. But I felt like just the outpour of people that were messaging me, thanking me for speaking up. I didn't realize it was as big of a deal as it was. You know, I was talking to one lady this morning. She's like, I had 2 photos that she made me look thinner, and I was really upset about it. She doesn't want her name brought up, but she's like, I was really upset, and I was scared to say anything because I've made some of my closest friends in PLON, and I was scared that she would remove me from the group if I said anything. And so I think that's where, that's where it kind of hit me, where I was like, oh, this is probably a bigger deal than, it needs to be. But I think that I'm happy to say something. I don't care. Yeah.
And I mean, I know you can't see it, but already the chat is full of people chiming in and saying that they are with you and that they were in the group or they left the group or they experienced something similar, or it's clearly a thing. And honestly, I'm not against like photoshopping. I don't think you are either. I'm not against like definitely women's groups, like, although I'm not really that interested in that anyways, but what I can say is that obviously whatever it was that you were feeling or whatever was tugging at your heart was something that was also being experienced by a lot of other people, and something that needed to be a conversation. And just saying, hey, I don't really care if I look like a Oompa Loompa, but I would like to have a conversation about where we're going with this, is I think what the point of like any group should be, right?
Yeah, and I think also interestingly enough, I'm not going to name him, but one of our colleagues, I was chatting with him last night on WhatsApp, and he's just like, oh, angry panda on the loose. And then he's like, what do you say? He's like, I really like the old Aleeyah. I'm like, first of all, does that mean you don't like the new one? Yeah. And second of all, like the old me, was a pretty big pushover. I was easily manipulated and, by friends, and admittedly, there was definitely lots of times, especially once I joined the poker world, where I should have spoken up in spots where I didn't, because I was worried that like I would get into conflict with like the wrong people, or it might affect my job, and I was really worried about saying things like that. And I even had an instance, I'm not going to get into it in too much detail, but where I complained about like some sexism and stuff like that, and somebody that I did work for said that they were going to go to bat for me and didn't. And I feel like I should have said something back then, and I didn't. Yeah. Now it's too late, and I'm trying to let it go anyways. But it's one of those things where I wish that I was the person then that I am now, so I could have stood up for some more people, where I definitely witnessed things that should not have happened, and I didn't say anything because I was scared to. And so I feel like now I have a bit of a voice, and I want to be able to use it, obviously within reason. I'm not going to like go ham and start like pulling up Twitter accounts and like calling people out for things. It's not exactly what I have time for anything or think that is productive, but I feel like stuff like this and whatnot are, those things are really important. And I think that people with voices should say something if they feel comfortable. There's so many big voices in poker, men and women alike. For example, I had the pleasure of chilling with Jen Shahadi and my friends Eric, Peter, and another Eric, and we were just chilling after day one, and like we were all just talking, and they were just, I'm very out of like the whole solver thing, and I don't really use solvers. Yeah. But they were talking about hands, and I'm just like, well, first of all, what a bunch of nerds. But like, second of all, I was like so grateful that I'm in this world where I can just sit back and listen to these brilliant minds. And, Jen Shahadi is someone with a really big voice too. And I feel like, she's one of the people that I obviously really respect among others. And, I think that people with voices, no, I'm not saying they have a massive responsibility to always say something, but if they feel the time is right, and if they feel that it's a spot where they can be useful in the community, go for it, because, I feel like we need more people like that. So yes, the old me maybe was a fan, or was, I was a fan of some people, but I think that like the person that I am now is just like, I don't want to be walked all over. I don't want to see other people get walked on either or taken advantage of. So I'm going to try to like not stir up too many feathers. I hope to go under the radar for the next few months and not have more controversy on Twitter. But yeah, it is what it is.
Well, I hugely applaud that anyways. And, we just had Marley Cadero on 2 weeks ago, and for the same reasons. Yeah, and it's like, whether or not you agree with everything she says or whatever you think, it's like the reality is like getting conversations going is something that is worthwhile. And actually, I'm scheduled in February to do an interview for PLON. They're going to interview me. So I think this will be really, an interesting time also for me to talk about these issues, and to have a real discussion and a dialogue, because I do think I'm 100% with you, whether or not you like Photoshop or you don't, or whether or not you're into feminism or you're not, or whatever stance you have, like conversation and open dialogue is the most important part of freedom, which is the most important part of being a human being. But
yeah, no doubt.
I think a lot of people, or there has been I guess I should use the term, I shouldn't say mass exodus because that's a little dramatic, but there's definitely a lot of people who have been leaving the PLON group in the last few months, and whether or not it was a direct result of this or some other things. It's interesting that you bring up that there is some sort of kind of battle between some of the women's groups, and I'm interested as someone who I personally respect and think of as pretty chill and like down, not so you're not like burning your bra or anything, but you're also just like a strong, person in an industry where I think it's difficult not just to be a strong woman, but just to be a strong person. What's your take on these like groups fighting each other, basically?
I think first of all, off the top of my head, I think it defeats the purpose of having groups like this, because like if you ask yourself, like, why do these groups exist? My first answer to you would be these groups exist to bring more women in poker, to make, we're 3 to 5% of the fields, and we want more of us in there. We want the poker fields to grow, and whether that's trying to find more men to play and more women to play, that's the goal. And, to credit PLON, they're running lots of, satellites. They're trying to get at least 50 women into the main event this year. Women that might not, want to play the bigger satellites. They're playing smaller ones, like 40 women satellites, and like winner take all. And they're chopping the rest of the prize pool, based on, if one woman cashes, she keeps 50%, the other women get a piece. It's not something that like I would do, I don't think, because I think playing for half of myself and playing a satellite, I think for some players is probably not worth it and not worth the investment. But the point that they make is that you're getting women who would never, even think to jump into these satellites at the Rio, are playing smaller tournaments and have the shot of living the dream, which I can attest to playing a 25K, so I can totally see it, and I really love what they're doing. So it kind of takes away from from the main message, and they've done so much good work. And I said this to Lena too. I was like, I don't understand, I don't understand why these fights are happening. You've done so much good, and we're just taking away from that by having these dramatic long posts, and people are dropping out and whatever else. And I think that there was like a comment about why can't one person be an ambassador in both women's groups? They're saying there's some sort of like conflict of interest. But my question is, like, if we're not for profit and our goal is to bring more women in poker, why is it a bad thing to have, for example, Ruth Hall and Chris Reed, really, really active in all of these women's groups. They were advocates in both of the groups, and they were both asked to leave PLON because they were part of the Women's Poker Association. And so, I don't understand the conflict myself. I asked many questions as to why there's a conflict. I was ignored for a few days, and Lena finally answered, but didn't want to answer in a public forum and wanted to answer in a private message. I think everyone should know, if they're part of a group, what the end goal is. So I think it's a waste, honestly, to have these feuds where we all have the same goal. We want to grow women's poker. We want more women to feel good about playing open events. Which has been part of PLON's mission statement too. We want more women in more open events. It's not just women's tournaments. We want to send these women to play circuit events, and I think that's amazing. And that's why it's so disappointing to me that all this stuff is happening, because, you're going to see there's been some really prominent women in this industry who have left PLON because of all the drama. And, I even said in my post, I said, I don't want to be an ambassador under the current leadership, but I will still remain in the group if you'll have me, because I want to support live events that you guys run, because I think that the end goal of all of these groups is what we should be focused on. And so I'm still going to support. I'm not going to just boycott something that I believe is good.
For sure.
Yeah.
For sure. And I think, honestly, like, I don't actually 100% know or understand what's been going on with PLON, but I do think that this is like an issue which happens in almost every cause that's really important, is that it's like some there, I forget what, there's like an expression, like it's like the cracked window or something, where it's like one small thing
Yeah.
that like then the neighborhood falls apart, and that the reality is that like, it's a good concept, it's a good idea. I think as women, it's so key to be with each other and to be bringing each other, more than anything, like you said, bringing each other in. Like, girls don't even know. I didn't know. Someone had to teach me, like, poker's awesome. I had a great girlfriend who showed me poker, and it's awesome. And once we get people in.
Like a good example is that this summer, PokerStars added a platinum pass to one of the LIPS, Women's Poker Association events at the Orleans. I went and played it, and it was like 2 flights. And then if you made the final table, they did like a huge flip, for the platinum pass. And I walked in there and I was floored. Like, I was on a wait list. It was crazy.
Get it,
girls. They ended up having 502 entries, which is so staggering. And like, I'm sitting next to this lady on my left who's like, this is amazing. I don't get to play much poker, but for $250, I get all these chips and I can play all day. Like, to hear that as someone who's been in poker for so long, and then you hear somebody who's like just brand new speaking that way and being so excited about it, you're just like, wow, these people are doing amazing things. And the sad part about that event was that the founders of PLON didn't show up and then I was like, why wouldn't they be here? It's a women's event. I was clueless. And then they were like, yeah, they don't speak, and so they're not going to support each other's events. And I think that's just so silly. Like, let's just put our stuff aside and just all go and play. Why can't we just all go and play? Like, there's a league event today in Calgary at like 6:30. It's a $55 buy-in, and there's a bunch of women.
That's my kind of buy-in.
Yeah, they go and they play. And they go play poker, and they have a league, a free roll at the end of it. And then, like, you get a bunch of money and you get to have fun and they have dinner an hour before and convene before the tournament. And like, I'm going to support it because I think that like, it's such a great initiative. And then what they do is they get together and, they pool some of the money from the free roll, and they go and they play some of these side events that, for example, the event that I'm going to work tomorrow. This one lady, she won a bunch of money from a couple of the weeks of the league. And she took $200 and she wouldn't play the turbo for the first time in her life. And she took it down. Like, to hear stuff like that, like, I don't care if I'm covering a 25K or a 200, like to get to like, be involved in stories like that is what, makes me happy to be in the industry. Like, I don't care if I'm working a $200 event or a 25K or 100K. Like, I don't care. Like, to hear stories like that and to talk to people who have like been their first tournament, or like, it's the first time I'm playing with men, and to hear stuff like that really fires me up. So, for me, it's like, I'm going to always support stuff like that. So I just hope that these groups just like squash whatever beef they have and just like move on, and let's just have an amazing year. Let's go to the WSOP 50th anniversary and see like the numbers skyrocket, when these guys and their charts at PokerNews put up how many like more women are here, this year from last year. Let's see that number increase, and like, let's just get along, like, let's just put it aside. Let's listen to each other. Let's not delete comments and tell each other what to do. Let's just be, like, it seems like it should be easy. And I know it's hard when you're in the leadership role. And I told Lena this too. I was like, I can't imagine how it feels being a leader of a group and having to like run the show. It's not easy, but let's just focus on the ultimate goal. Like, it's, I don't want to be involved in something like that has drama. So I'm just going to go to another group and just hope that I can have some fun there. I just want to have fun. Like, I want to go to these events and have fun. At the time of my life, I stone bubbled the ladies event last year. Like, I stone bubbled it when Jessica Dolly won.
Yes.
And I literally have not I was in so much pain, but like, we all, Molly Mossy, we all stood up. They all did a tequila shot with me after I busted, and I went home. Like, it was one of those things where, sure, it's painful, but it was such a fun event. Everyone was on their feet, and like, I had people cheering for me on the bubble. Like, that doesn't happen, like, so, for me to have the fun experiences I've had, I hope I have plenty more. And I hope that the drama just dissolves and we can just all hug it out.
I have to totally agree. And it's funny because, first of all, I wanted this interview to be 20 minutes and it's almost an hour. And so I'm sorry, I know you have stuff to do, but this has been
I really don't. I'm just chilling.
So crazy. It's gone so fast, but I've definitely had, I've actually had a lot of conversations with women in poker, and it's obviously a conversation everyone has, but I can remember there was a point about 3 or 4 years ago where, oh my gosh, I'm having a brain fart. It doesn't matter. Barb Enright?
Yeah.
Okay. Like, there was just really boss bitches in poker who were working on a documentary, and they sat me down and they were asking about women in poker, which is something I'm just not, like, I'm not a feminist. I'm not, like, obsessed with all this stuff. Like, I'm way more into, like, the let's just, like, all be, like, equal but not equal. Like, you can probably lift more weights than me, but, like, I can probably do lots of things you can't. But in the long run, having been in this industry for a long time, what I've realized more than anything is that women, we really are, in this industry specifically, to me, a group that is very... We're like a bunch of girls that were like the guys' girls, you know, or like we had all the guy friends growing up forever. And so somehow when a bunch of women like that come together, I've formed some of the deepest, closest, most incredible friendships I've ever had in my life. And I think it is 100% a result of the fact that this industry attracts a really specific type of woman who is like very strong and very smart and very cool. And I'm super, super lucky to be in this group, and I think you are too. And it's not surprising to me that just like in high school or any other situation that there's always going to be like weird little dramas and things that fire up. But I think in the long run, and honestly, I can't even keep up. Like, part of my job in this is to like keep the chat. I like keep things coming in the chat on our screen. I can't even keep up with the chat, dude. Shit is like going crazy. It's just getting bigger and bigger, and a lot of people have a lot of things to say, but I'm definitely proud to be a woman in this industry. And I think like most of the women that I have met in this industry, regardless of like what side of the fence they end up on, are like really impressive and like really awesome. And I want to give a few shout outs, because like everybody's been talking to you and saying amazing things about you and saying that they're really impressed and proud, and thank you for bringing all these things up. But June Jenkins is like one of my girls from Canada.
I love June.
Okay, good.
Poker
so
mama.
Yeah, like me and June go way back. So I wanted to say hi. And Danielle Adams says hi. Lupe Soto says hi. And says tons of other big things, which I need to get in. Gigi Fabulous has been in the chat forever, and I haven't even gotten a chance to get her in. I'm trying to like everyone, Louise Jean, that Bonnie Mandel Carl, John Leal. I'm like, I just keep going. Like this chat is exploding, and I haven't been able to get even everyone in it. But before I let you go, and I know you have to like move on with your life, but let's talk a little bit about what you have. I'm gonna while you're talking, I'm gonna add some of these awesome people into our chat. But tell me what you have planned for kind of the rest of the year and the summer, if we can expect to see you.
Yeah, absolutely. I have like a bunch of gigs booked over the next 4 months. I kind of just told myself I'm going to do kind of, usually like the longer gigs I do are like 11 to 12 days. So I decided I was going to do one of those a month. So I basically have one planned a month till WSOP. I have a gig in Calgary tomorrow, and then I've got, going to my it just worked out this way. My absolute favorite places to report in: Florida, Vegas, LA, and then Reno. And then I'm going to end up at WSOP, and do sort of a different role at WSOP than I normally do. Probably can't really talk much about it because it's not really solidified, but it's definitely not going to be live reporting. I kind of also told PokerNews, I was like, look, I don't want to do too much that's physically taxing, because, you know, being on our feet all day, for 7 weeks is really, really hard on anyone's body. Doesn't matter how fit you are. And so I just decided that wasn't a route I wanted to go this summer. But then after that, I am doing a Euro trip with my family. We're going to London, Italy, and Portugal. My cousin's getting married, so I'm going out there, and then they're going to leave, and I'm going to just continue on and hopefully end up at EPT Barcelona. Whether it's working and or playing, we'll see. And then I'll be back in September for probably a bunch of other gigs to end the year. But that's my plan for 2019. I hope I'm telling people that it's my YOLO year, because I just want to do everything that I love and go to places that I've never been, or go to my favorite places. So it's kind of a good start to the year, being in the Bahamas and then getting to go to like my favorite reporting stops, starting with Florida next month. So I'm pretty stoked.
Well, I will be so happy to see you more and more on the stops, because I've missed you. And before we go, I just want to at least tell you two comments I saw. Hopefully I can find them both fast enough. But John Leal posted this like way earlier in the chat. He said, I didn't remember her name, but at my World Series of Poker first time a few years back when I saw you later at Thunder Valley, she helped to make my experience fantastic. She's so awesome. I always love this when you like find people that you like, they're not even trying to say that they know you or anything, and that they just say that you made a big difference in their life. And then also, Deborah, who is Queen Bee. Now I realize. Yes. I'm like, why do I know her so much? Like, she's like Queen Bee. And if you guys don't know the stream, like, get on the stream. But she said, when I won my way to Run It Up Reno for $25 and took down the triple set event the first time playing, Aleeyah interviewed me after, like, it was 2 a.m. in the morning. I'd been up for 29 hours, but she was the best, interested, most understanding, and wonderful ambassador and example of a really great person and a woman in poker. And she made me feel amazing. Thank you so much, girl. And
thanks, girl.
Like, I'm just like, as I'm scrolling through all this stuff, this is like, I have to tell you, I do this with lots of really big famous poker players, and this is the most engaged chat I have ever seen so far. I can't even keep up with it. I honestly am going to have to skip some of the last ones because I don't have time, but I just want you to know, like, the chat was like just balls deep in like Aleeyah love. Like, there's just tons of Aleeyah love. Clearly you've been spreading it around. I'm super grateful for you coming on. For those who don't know, my truck got stolen. I'm sure I'll talk about it at some point in the podcast this morning. So Aleeyah was like having to be super flexible with her time schedule.
Oh, it's fine.
And I appreciated it. And I have to tell you too, like, sometimes doing the podcast is a chore, but I was really looking forward to this, so I appreciate it.
Thanks for having me. Honestly, it's really cool to be able to just talk about stuff like that, because especially with my goals for the year, in addition to going places, like, I'm just kind of like trying to find a way that I can kind of channel some of this stuff, because I know that when I was going through Ultimate Sweat, a lot of people were like following along and starting their own journeys. So I started a vlog too. Like, I started I got a GoPro, and I started a vlog when I was doing the second Ultimate Sweat Challenge, which I had to drop out of for Jamie Staples' Platinum Pass, and I couldn't do it anymore. And honestly, I had so much fun. Like, I was like, I was in Vegas and I had this GoPro, and I had my really good friend Mike was like, had the camera, and Vegas and Palace in the ballroom, and like, it was so much fun, and I had such a great time doing it. I might pick it up a little bit and just like try to have some fun with it, but I want to get back to, I'm back on keto and back on all that stuff. So I'm hoping that I can just continue where I left off, last year, and at least be a bit of motivation to some people, because that makes me feel really good. It's one of those things where I sat down and I was like, what do I want to do with the rest of my life? What do I want to do, like, on a daily basis and going forward? And I obviously enjoy the charity stuff, but I obviously just, if I can start something in that realm, in that world, I might. So I'm still brainstorming, but, we'll see. We'll see what happens.
Well, let me know, because, I'm in that video world. That's what I do.
Yeah,
so if you are in Vegas this summer and you're interested in doing like a regular video series or getting some people to follow you around or whatever it is, like, there's very clearly the market for what you're selling, if you will. Awesome. And we've got the people on staff. So keep me posted, and I love you, girl. And I wish you won all those millions and zillions of dollars, but I'm sure there's something much greater and bigger in store for you.
Thank you so much. I appreciate it.
Bye.
Bye, guys.